Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Creating Magic, our show in which we sit down with creators from around the world and we ask them how they create magic, how they go about performing, and we nitpick everything that's inside of their mind. In this episode, we're going to be sitting down with Jack Paton, an up-and-coming star in the sleight of hand realm who has recently collaborated with Heath Cards and put out a banger video called Snap. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check this video out after you watch this video because algorithm. I flew all the way to Glasgow to sit down with him and discuss magic, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. So without further ado, let's get it started. So Jack, tell everybody that doesn't know who you are, who you are.
How you doing? I'm Jack, I'm from Glasgow, Scotland, and I'm a card...
Sleightsmith. Card tinkerer.
Card tinkerer. No, I like sleight of hand. Hobbyist.
Tell me one magic story. It can be funny, it can be something magical that happened to you. Like, what?
I got, so when I was like 15. 15? No, yeah, 15. I performed at a festival doing magic, and for some reason the people at the festival owned a bakery. Some people that were there owned a bakery, and they said to me, they contacted me and said, could you do magic for the bakery? And so they like paid me to go in the back of their bakery. This was like not in Glasgow. I had to go outside of Glasgow to this bakery, and they paid me to go there and sit in the back room. And then I had to like come up with tricks with cakes. So they brought through like loads of like eclairs and like donuts and stuff like that, like chocolate bars. And then I had to just sit in a room and try and come up with tricks, okay? And then by the end of the day, like we went and filmed it. I can't even remember what I did. I was like, you know, like doing like torn and restored like eclairs and stuff like that. Like it was really weird, and I had loads of flash paper, so I was making like muffins appear and stuff, and like broken cookies and that sort of stuff. I can't even remember what we were doing. But then they filmed it, and they'd have it projected in their bakery. Like so, when you wait in the queue, there was like me, and I'd be like, "Hello and welcome to blah 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 blah," and then I would do these tricks. But like, yeah, I never went back. I just know that they had that for years. Apparently, they had me like projected in this bakery.
And how did you end up creating sleights? Why sleights?
I don't know. I don't think you know that sort of thing, can you? I don't know. I just like them.
But like how did cards appear in your life? That's what I meant.
Oh, because I've been interested in magic since I was like really young, and I think when I was like, you know, I always did like when I was younger I did lots of different stuff like the magic kit stuff, and then when maybe I was like 14, 15, I got really into cards, and then I never really stopped. I love all types of magic. I like playing with other things, but something about cards, like, I guess I know them best, and then that makes me, like, I can get more out of them. You know, like I understand more how they work, and therefore, like, it's more exciting for me to play with them because I'm more likely to, yeah, more familiar, and I'm going to be able to figure out something with them more easily than a totally new prop or...
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. So tell me a little bit about the beef between card sleights and card tricks, card effects.
Well, I guess there would be a battle in the sense of like, within themselves, like there's a battle because with sleights, you know, there's a constant interest in like, people that are interested in sleights is like, they just love, like there's so many magicians that love just sitting and learning new sleights, and a lot of stuff that people totally understand to be impractical, they just love learning it, and they'll sit for hours and play with it. And I guess like sometimes applying them in tricks in the wrong situation, there's like a clash there. I don't, also for me it's like what I like playing with is you can't choose that, you're interested in it, and in that case like you just follow that. So I think there'll probably be a lot of maybe people performing tricks where like the trick is not that good, but the method is really interesting, or the sleight is really interesting, and they just do that, and that's fair because you follow what you're interested in. And so there's probably that battle, like a battle in concept between trick and... But do you mean also like the battle between people that, you know, like really, you know, like a lot of people are like against sleights, you know, or not against sleights, but a lot of people think it's a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I think about the beef? Fuck no. That's such a hard question. Personally, I think that it's all magic. It's all good, and I think like, yeah, some people have an understanding, they think magic is all about the spectator. I get that, but I think magic is also, it's so much larger than that. You know, like there's all these different pockets of it, and I don't like when sometimes people say, oh, magic is this or magic is that, and they try and exclude everyone but their group of things, you know. And like that can happen in all different parts of magic. I like it just that you can be sitting at a table and there's someone who does like, you know, all different styles. Some person's interested in creating like specific cards, like some people are interested in the presentation. One person does like clown style or it's bizarre, and there's like a whole different. I'm just interested in that, and I love all parts of magic. So, I just think you just follow what you're interested in, and it doesn't. It's not gonna. It all feeds into each other. You know, like I sometimes think when people are not that interested in the sleight stuff, I get it, but how like there has to be something that will make its way from one part to the other. There always has been, and it will continue to be the case. And in that sense, then you are getting some value from it, and I think they're all necessary for each other in some sense.
What would be your advice for somebody that would like to start creating card slides?
Alright, I would say my advice for people that want to start creating stuff or creating card slides, or like visual card slides or anything like that. I would say just play with cards, like just spend ages and go like spend ages going like this, you know, picking a card here, flicking it, doing like just play in every way you can, like until you find a mechanic that interests you. That's what I do. I find a mechanic that either I do it two ways. One is that I find a mechanic that I'm interested in, and I go like, how the do you?
I can bleep that out, man.
All right, son.
Don't worry about it.
How can you apply that to an effect or like a visual? So either I go that way, I find a mechanic, and I like some things. There's some mechanics I really like, and I feel like maybe I'll not find a move that makes sense around it. But you just keep playing until you find maybe there's another slight grip of it that does something totally different, and then you think like, how could it be applied? It's like there's only a limited amount of like visuals that you can do with cards, so it's not that hard to go.
That's true.
Like, well, does this mechanic work with a color change, a vanish, or like a control, or whatever else? There's like a limited amount of things. It's like, and the other way I like to do it is like, yeah, have a goal. Like, I sometimes think like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool if you could just flick or just touch in this point? Like, how could you make that happen? And that's like, you're never going to be able to achieve it, but you're aiming for something similar, close. Can
you show me 3 examples of card mechanics? Don't necessarily try to use something that you use in a trick, so you don't explain anything of any one of your slides. But like, for example, just show me 3 mechanics. Three mechanics. Like, you're holding the deck and you basically said people should be able to find a mechanic that they like, right? So just play around with the deck. I want to see you playing with the deck. So somebody that doesn't know how to play with the deck.
Oh, right, that's tough.
Can see.
It's hard because when you like for me, there's very certain things I'm going to play with because I like certain movement, and those movements are things I actually use. So like, but if I was to say for someone to play with the cards, it's more like what I'm trying to get at is that you have to find your own.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You do start from something that you. I mean, that's my idea. I start from something that I know, and I think, okay, I can do it with the left thumb, right? Can I do this with the what? That's what happens when I do it with the index. It goes forward.
Sure.
So, is there a way that I can mask that, use that? What happens if I do the same thing with the full deck? Okay, I get a flip. You know, so I take a mechanic and I play with it. But that's not what you want to say.
That's what you say. Just yeah, I agree. Yeah, you just like you play around, you find what interests you. How you play around is like gonna depend on. Personally, I don't really. I like I genuinely just go like, you know.
I genuinely just go. Oh, that's a change I know.
I genuinely do things like that. It's like, oh, okay, no, that goes that way, and then I'm like looking. What if this finger's here? This go like this. Oh no, can I shoot something like that? That's interesting. And like, what if you could? Oh, that was that. You know, like. You play around and you find like a weird thing that happens with the cards, and you're like, wait, you're trying to understand why does things move that certain way, and then you try and think like, how could you use that? So sometimes you'd be like, that's just going to be like some pointless thing that you can play around with. But other times you're like, whoa, when I do that, it looks like the card underneath is revealed, or the card, this is a way of turning over a card. Like quite often with me, here's a way of turning over a card. And if you can do that, then you can make a change out of it, or or a vanish, or
So you're a pretty creative guy, I would say, and I think you would agree. Many people would agree. And recently, your video came out, Snap, with Heath cards, and I would like you to talk a little bit about the process of how you came up with the moves presented in that video.
Oh right, okay. So I would play around with cards, but I never really thought that I could come up with any sleights or anything like that. Like I was playing with cards, but like for a long time, but not really dedicating myself to try and. I just never really thought like that. But I watched a lot of other people who were real creative. Biz being one of them. Well, I guess say you being one of them. Do I say or you? Not you.
You can't.
What do I say?
I'm right here.
Yeah, I know, but who are you right now? You know?
Oh, Biz.
Oh, you okay. Well, I can say you. Like you and Noel and a bunch of other guys. And so I was always following, lurking around these people, like watching what they would come out and watch, like buying lots of card stuff online and reading lots of card books. And then I just decided I was watching so much other stuff. I was like, oh, alright, I'll just give it a go. And I did. And then I just like, I think it's like when you give a lot of time to do something like that, then it just all starts to make more sense. Like when you figure out one thing you like, then it just like goes like this, you know. For me,
branches out.
So like I went from like, I found one thing that I quite liked, how it moved, how the mechanic could work, and then I just like totally got the bug and figured out like sometimes it's like, it's not just like the interest, but it's like there's like something else that's like outside of interest. It's like the ability or something. Like the ability's there, but it's like something just goes and then you're
the flow. Something connects.
Yeah,
in your mind.
Something connects. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but then I just got like an interest in it. I already
There's a move in the move, the multiple snap change, and there's a motionless snap change, right? Can you tell me how you came up with the method for it? Because I know the method, like we're not going to reveal it, but it's pretty crazy. It's not orthodox at all.
Which one?
For the motionless change first.
Okay, so in the classic snap change, you'd have the two fingers, and as you flick the card, this finger disappears. Not disappears, but it goes behind the card. That's not the trick that it disappears. It goes behind the card, and I always really liked I mean, it's like the first thing you learn when you're doing card magic when you're younger. You see the David Blaine film, and it's always just like so. It's got like a really nostalgic thing for me, that the snap change. And so I started to think like, oh, I wonder it would be good if there was a way that you would never lose that second finger. And so that's when I tried to work on it. Of course, like there's a reason why you have to get rid. The second finger has to go. So you have to find a way of like patching that up. And in doing so, like magic is really interesting, or for me, method is really interesting. Is that you kind of have like some give or some like weak point, and the weak point of the snap change for me is that, you know. There's probably other weak points or strong points to it, but like the weak point is, for me, one of the weak points is this finger removing, and so you have to get weak points in other areas, like because it can never be perfect, and I think there are some issues with the other one, but yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does.
I just took that made this specific weak point another, and then put it through it behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, so people don't see it.
Kind of behind the scenes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
kind of a Penn and Teller talk right there.
Yeah.
It was. What about the repetitive snap change?
So I saw this snap change were double change, and I wanted to do it with one hand, and I wanted it to be almost exactly the same mechanic from the first one to the second one. So and then
you achieved it
with the multiple ones. It's hopefully it's the same mechanic for all, as many as you can do.
Exactly.
But yeah.
We were discussing yesterday about how magic is more objective than other art forms. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why it's more objective?
I don't know why such. I mean, I guess because there's I guess art, I mean, art is about communication, but I guess you're not aiming to, oh god, this is too complex. Wait 1 second. I need to write this out. Because art is about communication, right? This is not a simple point. Art is about communication, but so is magic in some sense, if you're trying to think of it as artistic. The difference is that with art, a lot of people don't think about like communicating on a mass audience.
No.
Magic,
true.
like, it's, you don't have such subjectivity on like what you experience as magic. Because it's not like one person goes, wow, that was so magical, and another person says, not really. Like, you can't do something totally like, there's a higher bar. Like, not anything can be magic. Whereas, like, anything could be art in some sense. And, like, yeah, you can't just do anything and expect someone in the world to find it magical. So there is some point where it's like, this is magic, this will create this experience.
And all magicians know this.
All the magicians know to some extent, like, you could argue about, like, certain details. But someone goes in and they, do a completely different process, like, they put a card in the center and then they click their fingers and the card stays in the center. They know that's not magical,
Right.
Like, there is objectivity in a sense of what you're aiming for. It's still obviously not totally objective, but it's more objective. And I guess I like that because you're not alone in that way. It's not in a depressing way, but it's like you're part of a community, like ants or bees or something.
I like that.
And you all in this big collective body of magic. And I remember once I told someone, I was showing them something I was doing, and they were like, they understood their strengths and my strengths, and they said, okay, no, you stop there, I'll take it from here, like, I mean, this is what I'm better at, the patter or the presentation. And I like that. It's like, you understand what you can do, and what you understand, you take more criticism easily, or more advice easy. With art, it's very difficult to take advice, because it's about you, or at least that is for me. That went on for a bit.
I like that.
So this is a version of the Gazinter boxes by Luber Fiedler, which I love. It's like one of my all-time favourites. So it's like a slight version of it. People that are interested in the boxes will know the slight difference, but yeah. So feel free to use it. You have a red and blue box. That inside you keep this black box. And if you wonder what's inside the black box, is that you can put the red and blue box right inside. And so the idea is, of course, of the Gazinter boxes is that the outside box should not fit inside the inside box. And this is just a slight version I made that is slightly different for people that are interested in it.